how's it going? Welcome back to another great video. Oh yes, it's finally here, and if you can't tell, I am just so excited. I'm so happy to be here and making this video, and I'm just so happy. And I just want to quickly say before we get into my Starfield review, and yes, this is an early Starfield review, so bear that in mind. I'm going to talk more about that in a minute. But first, I just want to say thank you. I put in so much effort and love into this channel and this community, and I'm so glad to have, almost 10,000 wise boys now. So if you want to be a wise boy, make sure you do subscribe. You don't want to be left behind with the dum-dums. Trust me, so please do subscribe. But I just want to say thank you. Thank you so much. It just means so much to me that I can actually do this, and it's just crazy. And just thank you for watching. And honestly, this just feels like a huge moment for just gaming, okay? And as a man who's passionate about gaming, I fell out of love with gaming a while back. I felt like it was getting stale, the industry was going downhill and corrupt. But to live in this time right now where we are getting Starfield, and I do think that Starfield is the game to change open world games forever. And finally, we are getting the innovation that we need to push the gaming industry forward. And just this month and next month, we are finally getting good quality releases, which we haven't had for ages. So this just feels like a massive moment. And if you do enjoy retrospective gaming content or early reviews or video essays around philosophy and life and technology and all that kind of stuff, do subscribe. So yesterday and today, I have been deep in research, okay? I have been combing through absolutely everything. And when I say absolutely everything, I've literally got Starfield imprinted in my DNA now. It's become a part of me, okay? Because I have gone through absolutely everything. I've watched the Starfield leaks, all of the news, all of the interviews, all of the videos. I've spoken to other content creators, and I've gone deep into all of the journalism and press. So this is literally everything that you need to know about Starfield and everything that we know so far about Starfield. So rest assured, this early review of Starfield has you covered. And before we get into all of this information, yes, this is an early review. I can't obviously talk about the gameplay that has leaked, and of course I can't show you new Starfield gameplay. That would be illegal, and I have to respect the embargo. So this is just a review of everything that we know so far, and I do my early reviews because the gaming industry, like I said, cannot be trusted like it used to be. We have seen mass corruption in the industry over the last couple of years with shills like IGN, YouTubers shilling a game in previews and then doing a 180, basically publishers and developers releasing false gameplay, and it's all just become a marketing scheme these days. But finally, I think we're getting something truly special.
What? What up, guys? It's your boy, the Todd Meister here, coming to you live through the inner tubes to bring you a brand new update on my latest video game, Skyrim, Star Citizen. We have a talented team working here at Bethesda Game Studios. Using our latest technology, I have cloned myself multiple times, creating the perfect development team so that we can bring you the perfect gameplay experience. Thanks, I'm Todd Howard, and that is the end of my Todd Talk.
And yes, after doing extensive research of Starfield over these last few days, Todd Howard has actually appeared to me in visions, in hallucinations, like an angel. Jesus Christ reborn. He told me that this game doesn't just have 16 times the planets, 16 times the solar systems, 16 times the detail, but he has also told me that this game just works. So rest assured,
it allows us to have 16 times the detail. 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 16 times the detail.
So the more research I've done so I could give you an accurate early Starfield review, the more I've realized just how crazy this game is going to be, just how giant this is, you know, going through everything, all of the interviews and all of that kind of stuff. Most people who have now got their hands on this are shocked at just how big this is. I don't think people truly understand how big this game truly is, and a lot of people do like to compare it to No Man's Sky, but this is a completely different experience from No Man's Sky. Yes, there is random generated content, but it is done in a completely different way, and they've been using this technology for a very long time. I've also seen criticisms around the engine, the creation engine too, but they've fine-tuned this to perfection, okay? So far, reports of 0 bugs, and in fact, Digital Foundry has just done a deep dive into just how smooth this game truly is, and they've been given permission to talk about it, so I can pass on that information. So this is not like any other Bethesda game, and not only is it not like any other Bethesda game because it has less bugs and it actually runs well. I mean, that is not a surprise to me. I mean, I just don't get that there were so many doubters and haters like Luke Stevens and so many others who were just kind of doubting and hating on this game for no particular reason, criticizing the engine and all that kind of stuff. But this is Todd Howard's baby, you know, this is something that he's dreamt about creating since he was a child, and they know they messed up with Fallout 76, and a lot of developers, you know, we can't trust them anymore. They just released, you know, garbage after garbage, broken releases, but Bethesda have only put out one miss, in my opinion. All of the other games are great and fantastic, and literally they've changed the gaming industry. There's been a few that have kind of, you know, not hit the target, I would say, like Fallout 4, and Microsoft have invested so much into this game that it was literally impossible that this game was going to fail, and I talked about that in my other Starfield video, how it's just illogical to think that this game is going to be bad, but still have realistic expectations. Don't get lost in hype. It's important just to go with logic, okay, and, you know, just be realistic about it, and they wouldn't put out so much information, so much gameplay if this was a failure, and it's not. So rest assured, and if you want more information on that, check out my other video. So the first thing is that this game is multi-layered, okay? It's not just one game, and one big part of this game is the fact that you can build bases and settlements. And I know what you're thinking, you know, oh, there's another settlement that needs your help. Let me bend you over a barrel and just, sorry for the technical issues right there, but yes, this game is not going to be like a regurgitated Fallout 4 endless, you know, terrible content simulator, so don't worry. Yes, there is random generated content in this game, and like I said before in my other video, you cannot expect any reviewer to give you an accurate review of this game because of just how big this game is going to be, and the fact that this literally changes gaming. We haven't seen a game like this literally ever been created before. You cannot write a game guide like we would have gotten with Fallout 3. I remember when I was in high school and reading through that and just getting excited, looking at all the different loot and the different quests and the different outcomes. It was very exciting, but this game is a little bit different because yes, the story and the quests will be the same, but the exploration and where you're going to find these quests and all that kind of stuff, this is going to be different for everyone, so it's going to be a completely unique experience, which is pretty insane if you think about it, because they created the handcrafted stuff, but it's going to be randomly generated, you know, in any location. So you might have the same encounter, but it might be with a different group of enemies, a different group of aliens on a different planet with different, you know, gravity and effects and all that kind of stuff. So that's what makes this game different from everything else. So you could have a very boring time with this game. You could be stuck on a barren wasteland and literally just walking miles and miles and miles. So the settlement system is completely overhauled, and it's not going to be like any other of the Bethesda games, because not only does it have the micro detail of, you know, creating a custom space and a home for yourself, which is what everyone loves in Skyrim. That's a reason why, you know, player homes are so popular, especially in the modding scene. But you can buy houses in this, but you can literally create your own bases on planets, and you can create multiple different bases and locations around the galaxy. So eventually, yes, it might even be possible to start up your own little cult community, or your own galactic empire. I'm sure that will be a thing with mods in the future, but the fact that you can have different settlements and the crew that you hire for these settlements will change the outcome of, how much resources you get and all of that kind of stuff. And the fact that you can create settlements anywhere and actually have, transportation, shipping cargo back and forth between different settlements to give you resources and money. So that is just one small part of this game, but that's a massive game within itself, a game about colonizing space and planets and then getting different, resources. So many games have done that with that kind of survival crafting experience, but that's just one small element of this game, which is just insane to me, okay? So there's detail on a macro level with building your house and your settlements and having different outposts, deciding the crew that will be there. So the next thing is the ship combat. Now the ship combat here is also fleshed out. It could have just been a simple arcadey space sim type game, but no, they actually took the time and effort to make the combat feel good. So the ship combat here will be slow and well paced and realistic, because I will talk about that later, the theme that they are going for, this NASA punk theme. I absolutely love this, but let me just talk about the ship combat, okay? Don't get distracted, Savior. There's just so much, it's literally insane. But basically, it's all around resource management. So if you want to escape a bunch of enemies, the best thing is to power up your engines, put all of your points into your engines so you can escape faster. Or if you want to jump, you can do that, level up your jumping capabilities with different stats and different ship parts and all that kind of stuff. So you have, all of these different systems like shields and your firepower and all that kind of stuff that you can allocate points in. So you have to think clearly about your tactics. So it's not just a mindless, click and shoot. There's going to be a lot of micromanagement, and the fact that you can literally live just in space and not even go and touch a planet's surface for a long period of time if you just want to be trading back and forth with different giant ship outposts and, stations out there in space. You can do that, and the fact that you can board and dock with other ships, take their ship, sell their ship, take all of their resources, you can shuttle people back and forth depending on different missions and stuff like that. You can even be stuck in a ship and then it takes off. I think that they went for a realistic, grounded approach, and this has really paid off because it's not like any other game, and this might be what space travel realistically looks like in the future, and that just makes it feel far more believable. It makes it feel much more rugged and realistic. This game isn't just trying to be a mindless shooter like Call of Duty or a mindless resource gathering game of survival. This is trying to answer some deep questions, and this is going to be a much more mature game, and that's personally what I need. That's what I love. This is going to answer some philosophical questions. Some game developers have even changed their religious beliefs around this game because of just how wide and big this game is. It will have actual impact and philosophical questions to answer, and of course I'm going to do a deep dive on that at some point, and I'm very excited about that. It's going to deal with religion and different factions, morality. So finally we are getting, a game that is catered to the mature experience. And this is because Bethesda know that this game is going to last at least 20 years. So say you're a teenager now, you will still be playing this game most likely in 20 years to come. And if you're like me now in your 20s, Jesus Christ, I'm still going to be playing this probably when I'm middle-aged. Oh geez, death is coming for us. Bethesda have gone on record saying that they've created some of the biggest cities that they've ever created, and some of these cities will basically be like districts from a game like Cyberpunk 2077. So it's going to be very fleshed out, very detailed. I'm not too concerned about the size. What matters to me more is if there's enough to do. And apparently you can spend ages and ages just in one city alone and do the quests in just that one city alone. And there's, quite a few major cities, but also there are going to be smaller settlements like the farms and smaller communities that we would have seen in Fallout 3 and Fallout 4. So don't expect major cities, but there are smaller communities out there, factions, religious groups, space colonies and all that kind of stuff. So I just don't think people truly understand how big this game is going to be. 1,000 planets is a lot, okay? And yes, a lot of it will be barren wastelands. Realistically, because that is what space is like, there are so many gas giants, and that is what makes me so excited, because some people, okay, will not like this game, and there is so much hype around this game because for the people who do care about this stuff, like me, it's understandable that you feel super passionate about this. So as someone who absolutely loves, space and science and innovation and humanity, someone who cares about that kind of stuff and asking the bigger questions, it makes you feel humbled. It makes you understand your place in the universe, how tiny we are, and having an experience like Starfield to go out and explore a simulated universe. Realistically, No Man's Sky, of course, did do that, but there's just not enough depth there to make you invested. And I know it's great now, it's been updated, but still, something like this is far more exciting, and it makes you truly understand the scope of the universe and what's possible, and that's why so many people are excited. So the space outposts and the giant ships will act as miniature cities in themselves. Think of Megaton from Fallout 3, or the giant boat that is, basically a miniature settlement and city in Fallout 3. That's what I'm excited about, is that you are going to discover new places, and in these places there will be interesting characters to interact with. The AI here is also updated. It is actually a radiant AI almost, and the fact that basically people will react a lot more realistically, that's a huge positive. They've reworked the animation system so people walk a lot more fluidly, and from what I've seen, people don't just pop in. It is just far better, and the AI actually is reactive to your actions, so if you steal something, they will actually react to it, and all that kind of stuff. I just wish they put in a morality system. Yes, you do get a wide choice of morality. You aren't just a goody space explorer. You can choose your destiny and what you want to be. If you want to be a space pirate, if you want to be someone who, goes out and collects bounties or something like that, like a space bounty hunter, you could do that. You could be, a planetologist, or someone who goes and surveys different worlds and basically documents alien life. You could just be, a nomad. There's just so many options, but you don't just have to be a good guy. You can be a smuggler, because yes, you can smuggle human organs and other illegal goods, and planets will scan you, and then you can sell them at higher rates and stuff like that. So there's just a lot to do here, and the morality is wide, but I just wish there was an actual system in place, and as far as I know, there isn't. I do hope you are enjoying this Starfield review, this Starfield game review, and quickly before I go into the next bunch of points that I have, I just want to ask you to simply go down below, click the link, and go listen to my new album, Nova. This album took so long, and I've been working on it for over a year, so imagine dedicating yourself to something for over a year, but it's finally done. And if you do like, sci-fi synth type music, if you like the soundtrack from Starfield or Cyberpunk 2077, funny enough, there's a song in Nova, in my album Nova, just called Starfield, because I took inspiration. If you like that type of futuristic sound, please just give it a chance. Please go listen. I'm sure you will be surprised. Purple Nova is about to hit 1 million streams, so there must be something in my music that people like. So it is honestly, I think, good and experimental. It won't be like any other synth music or electronic music you've heard. So please just go give it a chance. Go and listen to it down below. I will leave a link. That's all I ask. That's my only sponsor, is myself. So please go listen to my album and save the songs and heart them. Save it to your playlist, add it to playlists. That would mean so much to me, and share the link around. Thank you so much. So now we get into the nitty gritty, and this is what makes me most excited about Starfield. So if you are an RPG lover like myself, and you loved Fallout New Vegas, you like Baldur's Gate 3, you loved Fallout 3 and Oblivion, then good news for you, because Starfield apparently is more in line with Oblivion and the quests from Oblivion, and the RPG elements from older Fallout games than 4 and of course New Vegas. And of course it won't be as detailed as New Vegas, as that was made by Obsidian, but the fact that we are getting true RPG elements back again, actual conversation branches and different dialogue. We have a silent protagonist now, so you actually get to choose what you want to say. There is a mini game within Persuasion, and I like the fact that it's not skill based, compared to something like Fallout New Vegas. It is simply, a game of luck. And for me, that's so much more immersive, because when you are trying to shit-face someone, when you are just trying to persuade someone, you're not always going to get your way, and it takes a lot of charisma and skill, and it's always going to be a random thing, depending on who you're talking with, and that just makes this feel so much more realistic. But the fact that your backgrounds and your traits actually have different impact on the story and quests is super cool. It's not going to radically change something, like I said, like we would get in Fallout New Vegas. The quests aren't going to be completely randomly different, but there will be multiple choices to make, and this is a much more choice-focused game, like I said, with deeper morality implications involved. Depending on your traits and your background, it will have implications for quests, and it might mean it will make the game a little bit easier or more difficult. You might get a different outcome, stuff like that. It's not going to be like Cyberpunk 2077 where it just adds flavor. This is a proper RPG, and the character that you make matters, which is super cool. It will actually have gameplay consequences. For example, if you choose to have a family and parents, you will actually have to pay them and look after them, and this will actually change the gameplay. Or if you choose basically a different trait, like if you're an introvert, like all YouTubers are, it will actually change the gameplay, and you will get buffs and debuffs depending on your traits, your background, and this will actually change dialogue within quests. And that's what makes me super excited. I'm trying to set realistic expectations and not get hyped, just go off what they've said and the logic from all of my research that I found. But I think this is going to be in between, Fallout 3 and say something like Oblivion. Not so much like Skyrim and Fallout 4, which didn't have that much choice when it came to the actual RPG role-playing part of the game. It did have it with gameplay and combat and your playstyle, and the quests will be more in line with something like Oblivion instead of Skyrim, and that gets me super excited, because although the quests were good in Skyrim and the exploration was nice and it always felt pretty good, but after a while you did get bored. You knew what to expect when you went into a cave, and you would just find a bunch of bandits and some loot. Here, because space is so massive, you never know what you're going to find. You never know what to expect. There is no repeated content, as it were, because everything is randomly generated, and because it's so vast, it's very unlikely you will encounter the same thing over and over again. Of course, it will come to that when you've played it for hundreds and hundreds of hours, but because there's so much on offer here, I just think the exploration and the RPG mechanics here are going to be far more detailed compared to any other Bethesda game. And the reason why I'm so confident about this, and not a lot of people know this, but after my huge amounts of research, I know this for a fact, because Bethesda have hired modders, past modders, like the people who worked on interesting NPCs for Skyrim. They've actually hired modders to work on gameplay with Starfield. So already this game is basically, a Bethesda game with mods built into it. So that's why there's so much going on here. That's why it feels a lot more detailed, because actually they've hired past modders, and modders are great because they think outside of the box, they are creative, and it's nice to see that Bethesda are finally working with them. And I'm sure paid mods will be a thing later on, but I will discuss that in another video. So the next thing about your character and character creation and customization is the fact that this game is very much following the, standard Bethesda roots of different factions. And not only are there different religious factions and, the main factions, but you can literally play through the faction quest lines with all of these different factions, which is super interesting to me. But you will get certain bonuses if you do choose a trait aligned with that faction, and that just adds to your backstory and immersion, and the fact that you will actually have different dialogue choices, depending if you have joined a religious group in your character creation, all that kind of stuff just makes this feel super immersive. Now, if you're like me and you grew up watching shows like Star Trek: The Next Generation, or Firefly, or even Star Wars, you know, that's why this game captures the imagination so well. Because like I said, space and the universe is so complicated, it's so vast, it's so interesting, and humanity has barely touched any of it. I mean, we are literally nothing. And like I said, the universe makes you feel humbled, and it makes us and it's good to see that people are finally thinking about it, and that an experience like this is so interesting to so many people. Because go back 50 years ago, people wouldn't like to talk about aliens or UFOs or space or anything. They just want to live in a little humanity bubble. So I think that this truly captures the imagination of the human spirit and going out there into the unknown and exploring. That's why this game is so interesting. And because it's sci-fi, there is so much you can do with this. Think about the modding potential in the future. They have gone on paper saying that modders will be able to create entire planets with the modding toolkit. So just think about what this game can turn into in the future. It literally boggles the mind. And I don't care the fact that you can't, you know, just take off. And I truly don't care that you can't just leave the atmosphere in your ship and, you know, just transition without a cutscene. All of that stuff doesn't matter to me. What matters more is the detail and the immersion, okay? It's so stupid that so many of these YouTubers are complaining about that. It just grinds my gears. Again, Luke Stevens, God. Now, Bethesda has been making this new IP for over 20 years now, so this has so much love and passion into it, pretty much my entire lifespan, which is pretty insane, you know, minus 6 years or whatever. But still, that's insane to think about, that this game has been so meticulously, you know, handcrafted for so long. They've truly thought about the lore. It hasn't just been slapped together in recent years, and the lore here is what's important. There is a deep history in Starfield. There's a timeline that makes it, you know, similar to our own, but then it branches off, and I really love to see that. That's what makes fiction so inviting to me and so interesting, and you will get lots and lots of lore, lots and lots of story if that's what you're interested in. And Starfield has the most dialogue in any Bethesda game, so it's pretty insane what we can do here and how much there is to interact with. Don't expect this game to change, you know, gaming forever, but I do think that this is the innovation that the gaming industry needs, and it will be, you know, just a big step forward for what an open world game is, because it's not really an open world game, it's an open world galaxy, which is just insane. And the fact that they have upgraded the engine, you know, enemies react much more realistically, the shooting looks great, the way the NPCs move and, you know, actually have hit detection and ragdoll physics and all that kind of stuff. That's what is so magical about a Bethesda game. It truly makes you feel like you are in that world. And of course, the beautiful thing about sci-fi is it inspires generations to come who want to go into science, who want to explore space, and, you know, technology like this innovates and it actually creates the technology from fiction into reality because of how powerful it is. So I truly think that this is just an exciting universe, you know, not just a game, but the IP of Starfield looks interesting to me, the universe and the lore behind it. So I'm just confident that this game is going to be truly amazing. And finally, let's talk about those magical powers that you have and the companions, okay? So we know that there is going to be like a secret skill tree, most likely. You know, it hasn't come out on record yet, and I'm not talking about any of the leaks. Like I said, I cannot talk about any of the Starfield leaks. I'm only talking about all of the public information, and I've gone through everything, so you don't have to. So this is literally everything you need to know about Starfield, everything we know about Starfield in this Starfield Early review. So I'm not spoiling anything, but I'm pretty sure most of us know that there's going to be some kind of skill tree around these magical powers, and my guess is that you get these powers by interacting with the artifacts. And finally, let's just touch upon the companions. So I was a little bit disappointed that there aren't going to be more companions that you can interact with and romance with, and I think that they haven't upgraded that system that much. Like with the Outer Worlds, you know, the companions actually interacted with the conversations that you're having, and apparently this might happen in Starfield, but I just hope that they build upon the companion system more to make it even more immersive. But Starfield has so much going on for it, and I just can't wait, and I think so many people are excited about this for good reason, and I just wanted to cover absolutely everything. I'm sure this is a long video, but I just felt like I'm so excited, and I just want my excitement to come through and, you know, share all of the information that I've done. And for people who haven't had time like me to dig through everything, hopefully this one video sums it all up so you don't have to watch tons and tons of videos before it comes out. So that is my early Starfield review, my Starfield game review. The randomly generated content, let's just end on that, because that is a big topic around Starfield. I do think that there is going to be lots of planets out there that are boring and basically don't have anything, and some of the random, you know, points of interest will kind of feel regurgitated after a while, and they will start to feel like, you know, clearing out just an enemy base. But because each planet offers different environments and different alien life and all that kind of stuff, I think that it will continue to feel fresh for a very long time. And Bethesda are very good at creating environmental storytelling, so I just think that the exploration here won't get boring, especially as there's so many quests that will be interesting, that will, you know, take most of your time. So I just feel like this is side content in such a massive game anyway, so it's nothing that you truly need to be concerned about, and it just adds to the immersion. But if you do just want to walk around a planet and explore it, a lot of people do want to try that, I think it will get boring, and that isn't what this game is about. You know, yes, it does have a whole planet that you can explore, and there might be some interesting things that you can find, but honestly, that would be a pretty stupid way to play. And of course, the graphics and the lighting, they all look very nice. I personally don't care about graphics, but I think the art style here is what matters, and the most important thing is the ambience and the atmosphere, and that is what made Skyrim successful, and not a lot of people talk about that. It was the music, it was the ambience, it was the way that you felt connected to nature in the simulated environment, and I think Starfield has managed that same thing. The music sounds amazing, the ambience looks thick and heavy, and it, you know, has this cyberpunky, like I said, this realistic kind of tactile NASA design to it that just makes this feel like a grounded universe, like a sci-fi show like Firefly or something like that. So I do think that they have again nailed the ambience, just like they did with Skyrim and Fallout 3, and that is what is most important. So I'm just excited to get my hands on it. Please let me know why you are excited about Starfield, if you're going to get this day one or you're going to wait for the release on Xbox Game Pass. So that is my review of Starfield. I truly hope you enjoyed this deep dive of Starfield and all of the Starfield news and all of the coverage of Starfield in this video. I truly hope that you did enjoy this video, and I would appreciate it a lot that if you did watch until the end, please do consider giving it a like and sharing it around. You know, liking it, it doesn't take much effort, and that will help this video, you know, go up in the YouTube algorithm, and I would appreciate it a lot. So do like the video, subscribe. I'm so close to 10k, and that would just mean everything to me. If you want more Starfield content and other game content, I'm on it always very early, and I have lots of interesting content around games and the philosophical meaning behind games and all that kind of stuff. So please do subscribe, it would mean a lot to me to get to 10k. So thank you so much for watching, and I can't wait to see you out there in the settled systems. Peace out.